Welcome to Build Your Foundation, our weekly dive into a topic regarding divorce, mediation, finance, or mental health. So, for today, we are continuing our divorce coach series on Build Your Foundation, and we have Karen Dorsey of Smarter Divorce Solutions. Karen is based out of Phoenix, Arizona, and is a mediator and a certified divorce coach. Karen, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Caroline, I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. So, to start off, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your practice.
Sure. My background is in education and counseling. I was actually a teacher, a school counselor, and then a therapist in private practice.
Wow.
And I worked primarily with women and families. And when I went through my own unexpected divorce after a long-term marriage,
Mm.
I shifted into counseling because I saw how difficult that process is. And I had no idea what I was doing.
Mm.
So I really dedicated myself and became passionate about helping women go through this process so that they feel more confident and secure about the decisions that they're making. I know I went through mediation and it wasn't the best experience. I
Mm.
had an attorney and he was fine, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I was in such an emotionally overwhelming place
Yeah.
that I made decisions that I might not have made because I was so scared and upset emotionally. So that's why I became a divorce mediator and a certified divorce coach as well.
I love it. So, tell me how you help a client who's thinking about in the process of or just having gone through a divorce.
Sure. If someone is thinking about divorce, they're in that should I or shouldn't I place.
Hmm.
I take them through a process. It's a decision making process that I've created because it's just not a simple make a pros and cons list,
Yeah.
right? If it was that simple, then, it would be that simple,
Yeah.
and it's not. There's so many different things to consider. So
Mhm.
I created that process so they can really make that decision on whether or not they want to move forward or stay. And it's not going to be easy. There's nothing easy about this. They're still going to be afraid even if they decide to move forward. They're still going to be worried. It just means they've made a decision that they can believe in. So just that making a decision is a huge step because you what I find, Caroline, is that they may have been thinking about this for months, for years, for even decades.
Wow.
So um, that it's just a place for them to make that decision and move forward if that's what they want to do. If clients come to me and they're in the divorce process, then they're oftentimes referred to me by attorneys or who see that their clients are struggling, or someone like you, a CDFA, who's concerned about their client's circumstances, or a mediator who believes that there might be a power imbalance in the mediation, and then I can work with them in pre-mediation coaching so that they're more likely to have a successful outcome.
Mhm.
So if they come to me at the beginning of the divorce process, what we do is I help them create an action plan
Mhm.
that's very detailed, that's broken down into small steps,
Mhm.
because it's really difficult to think about everything when
Yeah,
when you're in this process, right?
it
There's
definitely.
so many decisions to make. So they're probably coming to me. They're overwhelmed. They're afraid.
Mhm.
So I help them really look at their priorities, really identify their priorities, because who are they listening to? Their family, their friends, and they say things like, "Well, my friend got X, Y, and Z,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I think I'm entitled to that as well."
Yeah, yeah. I hear that all the
Right?
time. Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. So we explore what does that mean? What
Yeah.
when you say what I'm entitled to or what is fair?
Yeah.
I want what is fair. And as you know, that can really shift over the course of the negotiations,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
share with me, maybe in terms of like client scenarios, what your most difficult client scenario was or is, and how your role as a divorce coach helped this person or the couple.
Yeah, yeah. So I see each client as having their own divorce story, and no one's story is exactly the same. And it really doesn't matter if you're initiating the divorce or your spouse is initiating the divorce. There are some common denominators there, and one that I really try and keep in mind is this is truly a traumatic event.
Yes.
It's heartbreaking. It's really the second most stressful event that we go through in our lives, the first being the death of a spouse or a loved one, but divorce is the second one. And I think we forget emotionally how devastating this can be. And we forget that they're also dealing with grief and
Mhm.
loss during this
Mhm.
process.
To be honest, I feel like divorce is even harder than death.
Yeah,
With death, it's final. With divorce,
right.
your mind starts to go through the what if, why not, what did I do wrong? All the self doubts and the questions that one asks. Whereas with death, you can't, there aren't too many, well, what if I did this? D-
Exactly.
Right?
Right. And if, especially if they're co-parenting, right?
Yeah.
You still have to have a
Oh,
relationship with this person. So it is just the one of the things that I really talk with clients about as far as parenting is that you don't have that relationship as a couple anymore. And so you need to look at how you're going to view this, your ex, this person, in a different way if you're going to co-parent well together. Um, yeah, so
the
there's
old
so
habits, the old ways,
yes,
the old systems that worked when they were
yes,
married, it no longer applies, right?
exactly. That's
Yeah.
such a good point. It just doesn't apply. You've
Yeah.
got to really shift to talking to that co-parent as you would talk to a colleague
Yeah.
or a coworker. Because if you're bringing that emotion still into it, that if you're still feeling stuck, it's going
Ah,
to reflect on
yeah.
how you co-parent.
Mm. That is very difficult, and I could understand. So what are some tips that you would, work with how, your clients so that they may be able to shift um, how they used to do things to now how they need to do things?
Right, right. That's such a good place to start. So oftentimes I think the financial piece, as you know, is so important. So what if they never had a budget?
Mm,
Now they have to have a budget.
yeah, yeah.
What if they the facts are they're going to be living in two different households? How is that going to look now? How are they going to deal with maybe the loneliness that they're feeling,
Mm,
not having that person right by their side, not having that person to parent with every day? So I really take them where they are and help them move along towards the future and what they want to become and how they want their lives to look going forward. Are they going to have to get a job?
mm,
What is that going to look like? How are they going to navigate that process of going back into the workforce?
yeah.
That's a big one for a lot of the stay-at-home moms. they
Huge.
have no choice, right?
Yeah. It is so difficult. Something that I do go over with my clients is you were going from one household, you are now going to two households, and there are now going to be two sets of expenses.
Exactly.
And
Right.
having to work on a budget, work within a budget, and then plan accordingly is so important if we want
Right.
to set our clients up for success. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And it's a process, and it's not something that you just make a decision and you do. That's why I really like to have a plan, an action plan, and to take small steps, because the
Mm,
whole thing is overwhelming, right? I mean,
completely. Yeah,
it just is,
it
no
is.
matter what your circumstances. So just to slow things down
Mm,
and to take it step by step, is critical, I think, to have a good outcome,
yeah.
and to save money so that you're not going to your attorney with all of these questions that aren't organized.
Yeah.
And that's what we really do, is get really organized through this process.
Yeah. So let's shift a little bit. Tell me about your most favorite client scenario and what the impact was for them and also for you.
Ah, I I love my clients. I have had some of the most amazing clients, and I think what makes me feel so good is to watch them go from despair
Mhm.
to having hope.
Mm,
So one of my clients, Lori, when she first came to me, someone referred her to me, and she uh, she scraped away to get the money to do this coaching.
mhm.
She had gotten a stack of papers from her attorney to fill out, and he just said,
Oh,
"You need to fill out all these papers." And Lori was just overwhelmed.
overwhelmed. Yeah.
And so she said, "Can you help me with this?" And I said, "Of course, I can help you with this."
Wow.
So we sat down, and it was a longer session. It might have been a couple of hours. And of course, I couldn't fill the forms out for her, but we sat down and we and got organized, and we helped her get the information, access the information. And we got to the end of it, and she says to me, "You did it." And I go, "Oh, oh no, 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 no.
You did
I
it.
didn't do it. You did
Oh,
it." And it
yes.
was just her whole affect,
I
just
bet.
everything just settled down. And I worked with her for a while, and
Yeah.
she ended up moving. She hadn't worked before. She hadn't been working, but she had such a drive, and she didn't know what she was capable of. And that's what I think so many of us think, is that we lose our self-esteem, we
Yeah.
lose our self-confidence. And when we realize that, huh, I could do that. She ended up becoming a very successful realtor
Mhm.
in Florida. So it's just amazing. Mary, another one of my clients, came to me, and we talk about this today. I mean, she really almost had PTSD.
Mm.
She was in shock.
Yeah.
This was a blindsided situation, and she wanted to work together. She was able to get the money from her family, which I just really respect, when people really don't want to. It's hard
Yeah.
sometimes, but they know they need it.
Yeah.
They know they need this help. And so we've worked together, and it's just been to see where she started, and 3 months later where she is
Mm.
now. I mean, it's just warms my heart.
That is awesome. Awesome. You know, I, all my clients know every prospect that I speak to, every client that I take on, I always let them know that hiring a divorce coach is essential.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. It really is. I talk to so many women who say, I didn't know that. I wished I had known that. I wouldn't have made those decisions.
Yeah.
And that's where that person, that thinking partner, that advocate, that someone who knows what it's like to walk down the path with you so that you can feel secure and confident that
Mhm.
you're making good decisions. And Caroline, that's the key to having a team of professionals like you,
Yeah.
because we know divorce is so much financial and about the children and about parenting.
And
So,
emotions.
how can you make those decisions when you've never been through this? We don't have take a course in how to get divorced.
Yeah.
So, how would you know?
Yeah. And as we work as mediators as well, when we're financially neutral people, we can't advocate. Whereas if our clients hire a divorce coach, they could have that advocate, they could have the sounding board, they could vent or process, or just help them to be in the right state of mind as they enter into mediation.
Beautiful.
Essential.
Exactly. Yeah, it really is critical. That's why I love doing the pre-mediation coaching, and
Yeah.
I'm a licensed provider for that through New Ways for Families, because they're scared.
Yeah.
They Who's been to mediation before? Probably no one. Just like most people, that's the first time they're in an attorney's office.
Yeah.
It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
So to have that person help you to really figure out how this is going to go, and to be able to
Mhm.
make proposals and feel like you can negotiate even if there is a power imbalance.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of having that person
Yeah.
prepare you and help you through that.
Definitely. Well, Karen, thank you again for joining us on Build Your
Thanks.
Foundations.
Thanks for having
Where
me.
where can our audience reach out to you?
Sure. So they can reach me by emailing me at Karen at smarterdivorcesolutions.com. Also, check out the website at Smarter Divorce Solutions. There's a lot of good information there. And we also do complimentary consultation. So I'd love to talk with you and see how I might be able to help you.
Perfect. So, audience, if you are considering separation or divorce or have any questions on what we talked about today, please reach out to us at Foundations Divorce Solutions and schedule your free consultation. We would love to connect with you. Link and contact info are in the bio. Even if you're not in the state of Washington or in the Seattle area, please contact us. As Karen is in Phoenix, we also work with colleagues across the US who may be able to help you. And also, please share this post or tag someone if this speaks to you personally or if it may benefit someone else. And lastly, if there is a topic you would like to discuss on a future episode, please DM us. Thank you and take care.